Folks, welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I am the big man on campus. He's Ski Prophet. We're here live on a Thursday, March 25th, 2021. This show is powered by Pickswise and presented by the great folks at FanDuel. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. Getting after it here on a Thursday, breaking down the NBA card. We got 4 college hoops games tonight in the NIT. The NIT finally back. Don't really understand how they scheduled or why they scheduled this way. Ski, let me ask you, you're an NBA guy, but you follow college. Does it make any sense to have a tournament at the NIT start last Thursday and then not play again until this Thursday? Wouldn't you want to kind of grab like the whole week and play because you're kind of the only thing in town?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, maybe they just don't want to compete with the better divisions or better conferences, but I mean, they don't play all week either. So I hear what you're saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's weird. Like there's nothing going on. I mean, there was the CBI, which is below where the NIT is. I mean, you're not really competing with anything. I guess you don't want to compete with the NBA, which is odd. I don't know. It's just I've had a weird scheduling situation, but it's been weird this year scheduling all year with, putting the tournament on different days and that sort of thing. But either way, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. And, mentioning those conferences, let me just ask you, CBI, I don't really follow that. Are those teams worse than like Western Kentucky, or is that Western Kentucky?
Well, no, I think, the CBI is going to be for, the NIT is always going to be allotted for the teams that don't win their tournament. Like the teams who are in the final game of the conference tournament, they're the teams that go to the NIT. The CBI are going to be for teams, let's say that maybe made the final in really small conferences or, really solid teams out of other small conferences. It's generally a lot like the third and fourth teams, let's say. So
Gotcha.
like, for instance, in the West Coast Conference, a conference with Gonzaga and BYU, Pepperdine was the third best team. They didn't get to the NIT or anything, or the TANs, they go to the CBI. And there's also the CIT, which they didn't have this year. So there's all sorts of CIs and NBAs and NITs and all sorts of crazy basketball lingo. But we're back here today off of our first show with Ski last night. We only got 5 NBA games tonight, kind of a slow schedule, but it's nice because you have the NIT, which can kind of fill the void. So last night, Ski, was kind of a weird night for us. We hit right out of the gate with Detroit. Then we come right back. I don't know what that effort from Phoenix was. They had some stretches where, they were up 6, they were up 8, but Orlando just hung around. And, that's your issue sometimes when you back double-digit dogs. You get the best efforts out of some of these dogs, and be that as it may, not only to the Magic cover, they win the game. I don't know how the Magic compete, to be honest. Like, their roster sucks. Which we talked about, but shout out to them. And then we got some rough news with James Harden, who plays literally all the time. But last night he decided he had I think it was a personal issue. I don't know, but he didn't play. That number jumps at the 13. When I saw the jump to 13, I thought, all right, I'm going to lose with 10 for sure. They jump out 16-4. I think at one point it was like 37-18 at the end of the first half. Or first quarter, and then so on from there. But, Ski, the great thing about the NBA and the great thing about basketball betting is you can get back on the horse and do it again the next night.
That's right. And I just want to say something really quick about that Orlando. I feel like they're a team that's getting a little bit healthier now. So with the guys in the lineup, if they don't make any significant trades, which I think they probably will today, right, they may be able to keep it going. And I mentioned yesterday to you, big man, I kind of knew once the game got a little bit close at the end, Suns were going to lose. When the Suns win, they cover the game.
And if they lose,
they don't cover. Simple.
They obviously don't cover. Right. Great point. That's a good point. I will also say here, make sure you're understanding. Today is the trade deadline. Okay. Understand you got 5 games here. Understand these teams. You look at these teams though, as far as from a losing player standpoint, I don't know if a lot of these teams will lose players, which is good. I mean, you don't have the Raptors playing. Like the Heat and Blazers, I don't see any players moving there. Knicks, Wizards, I hope the Knicks don't screw anything up and try to move players. I think they can only add players.
I'm hearing they could get Lonzo. We'll see.
Right. They're not going to lose players. Clippers and Spurs, they're not going to lose anyone. Kings, Warriors, I don't see them losing anyone. And then Sixers, Lakers definitely aren't going to lose anyone. Well, they could, I guess, but they're only going to game players. So that's the one you want to look out for. The Sixers are the team. Sixers and Heat could lose players that won't play tonight, but won't get players that'll play tonight either. So keep abreast of what's going on with the trade deadline. Trade deadline is at 4 p.m. Okay, so and we could get a deal during the show here. But we'll see kind of how it all shakes out. Ultimately, Ski, what do you think shakes out? Do you think we see any big moves here? From what I understand, the Lowry deal, it's going to be tough to get done because the Toronto Raptors have assessed such a high need for what they want back for a 34-year-old Kyle Lowry.
Well, how the game went yesterday and everything that was said, I kind of feel like Lowry is going to be moved. Lowry, Norman Powell, probably another name for the Raptors is probably gone. I think Aaron Gordon gets moved. Like, he's been talking about this for a while, so I don't see why you necessarily keep him around. I think the Celtics may be the team to get him. So it's a few names. Also, Lonzo Ball, he's one of my favorite players, so I'm interested to see where he ends up.
I get a weird feeling he's like thrown to like Toronto somewhere or something. It seems like Lonzo Ball is always going to be the player that's just included in all the deals, and he never really kind of creates a niche in the NBA. I told you his brother's the guy. The brother is the real star of the family. Not that he's not a great player, but the star is LaMelo. And
he was always supposed to be the best. I mean, if you watch like growing up or watch their games, or you should know like he was always supposed to be the best.
And LiAngelo is just like Cooper Manning. He's just there. I've always said if I'm LiAngelo Ball, I would just like be like one of their managers or something. Like, why do you even try to play basketball? Just live off, like, just be part of what they're doing. Like, if you have brothers, like, your family's always going to help you out, and you're not like you're helping them. You're part of their business. Like,
what do you think about LeVar? What LeVar said? He said that LiAngelo is better than LaMelo. Is he just trying to get him a roster spot or what?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, that's nonsense. I mean, I think LiAngelo is better than most people on earth at basketball, but do I think he's an NBA player? No, probably not. Why isn't he playing overseas or anything? Like, what's
I think he just has I think he has a bad reputation after the stuff that happened in China.
Yeah, the UCLA stuff. That's when LiAngelo's kind of, not that it ever really affected him, but he kind of just went off when he left there, and it was just never the same, I feel like. But
we could have had a UCLA LaMelo too. I'm a UCLA fan. I would have been all for that.
He could have. He'd be there probably right now, or I mean, maybe we wouldn't be there to now, but last year, sure. All right. Thanks everybody for checking out the show. We appreciate it. Make sure if you're new around here, you hit the subscribe button. We continue to build this channel. That was the goal. Coming on here, building this channel, creating some good basketball content for the month of March. And while there's no college hoops right now until Saturday, we got Ski on the Talk NBA, which we'll do here right now. Thanks everybody for checking out the show. Though, make sure you're checking out FanDuel. Make sure you're checking out PicksWise. We'll get to them a little bit later as far as what you can expect there. But make sure you hit the subscribe and like button if you're enjoying the content. If you're not enjoying the content, you know what? Hit the like button anyway, because Ski Profit, it's early here. It's 9 a.m., but it's real early for him. Ski, I got to tell you, I know I'm another man, but I'm just going to say it. You look pretty good for 6 a.m. I'm not going to lie. Do you sleep or?
Nah, I don't do a lot of sleeping, honestly. Just take like little naps in between.
Really? You're not a sleep guy, huh?
Hey, man, when there's work to be done, you got to get it done. If you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah, also, that's well said. Ski, you also, people have commented on your decor in your home. It looks great. What do you live in, like Hollywood Hills or something?
Yeah, I'm living the life over here, as you guys can tell and can see. But no, seriously, it's not my house. You guys know. You guys know how the.
Someone actually commented in the comments last night that Ski's house is awesome or something. Like, but no, I think it's just a backdrop. I'm sure gonna guess though, Ski probably has a nice place. And you live in Vegas, right, Ski?
I do. I'm enjoying being here. I like my place. Pretty close to the action.
Yeah. Yeah, hope to see you again soon, Ski, once all this stuff is figured out. I remember when I met you out in Vegas. You're a good dude. All right, let's get into the games here. We'll start it out again. trade deadline. Make sure you understand what's going on here today at FanDuel. Let's start it out with the Portland Trailblazers and the Miami Heat. Miami at home here, laying 4. Total is not at FanDuel. For whatever reason, there is no total posted. I did see some 219s floating around. Heat struggling right now. I've lost 4 in a row. The issue for this team all year is there was kind of some issues with just having players available. They had that stretch where they had guys that were coronavirus to start the season. They were throwing out like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and just guys that are D-League players that were playing in the league. 25th in offensive efficiency, Ski, really struggling to score the ball this year. But I got to tell you, if you can't get on track at least a little bit offensively against Portland, I think you have some issues. Let's just be honest. Portland, not a good defensive team. Portland always like to kind of turn it up a little bit. And, when you look at Portland, Ski, you kind of almost look at 219 and say, any totals in the 210s involving Portland, don't you just have to play over? Like, Portland goes, like, the 220s in every game. Like, every game they play is, 118, 114, just crazy. When you look at overs, Portland's obviously been a good over team this year. Any thoughts in this game? Miami kind of that slower, better defensive team, don't score real well. Do they settle tempo here? And this game's played in the 210s? Or do you just kind of say, you know what, you're playing Portland, let's just assume the game's going to be high scoring. If you can't get on offensively against them, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, maybe the total will be a little bit correlated here. If you like Portland, you probably like a little bit of the over. And if you like Miami, probably the opposite, you like the under. Just what you said about Portland defensively, they've been the worst defensive rated team over the last 5 games. So like you said, if Miami can't get right here, who are they going to get right against? Right. So both teams have not really been covering numbers as of late. But, I mean, Miami's a team, and I kind of mentioned this yesterday, I like to back teams to bounce back after they got embarrassed as a home dog. I like it more when it's a road dog because I think you get a little bit more extra points in your pocket. So I still would back it. I think Miami's a team I trust more than Portland. I think they still they're not that high in the standings. They still need to win a lot of games. So they have a major rebounding advantage in this game. Their defense is better. So Miami would be the way that I would go as far as the side. And the total, it's a little bit tough. Both teams have been kind of trending under. But this is what I'll say about Miami. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence to bet the overs because they're not shooting the 3 very well. I'll also say that I think that they can score in the paint versus Portland. So the number I made for the game was 222. And where it's at right now, that would lead me to think it could still get over.
Yeah, it's really right there because anytime you back Miami, you kind of watch your games, you say, wow, this is going to be an old school NBA, about a 103, 93, 99, 90. Like, they play a lot of games. Like, look at the game the other night against the Grizzlies. I think it was 89, 85. Miami really takes you back in history to, like, the 90s, like, where every game is 95, 92. It's actually quite nice to watch because they do play defense and they do have scoring issues, but I've just seen so many games of Portland where they're just so inept. But I kind of agree. I think in a way he kind of get going here a little bit, and defense usually wins. And at 4, I don't hate it, but they aren't playing well, Miami, right now. This is a tough game because it's kind of a conflict of one team wants to go quick and kind of score, and the other team's going to kind of slow it down, and you really have a clash in tempos here. So it's a tough game. You're leaning Heat and maybe slightly over, but as you can say with this game, guys, it's very tough. I would probably look to skip this one. I know there's not a ton of games today, but I'm skipping this. I had nothing on this game overall.
If I am playing it, I'm sticking to the side. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, okay. So maybe, as Ski said, I think if you like the Heat, you probably trend under. You like the Blazers, you probably want to trend over. But very tough game. Very tough out of the gate. Knicks laying 3. Total is 226. They've been going crazy up at the Garden recently with some of their wins. Keep in mind, the Knicks are 22-22. You would think every game they win, they've won the NBA Finals. It's pretty crazy. They're outside of the Garden celebrating. And, you got to admit, Ski, the NBA is better when the Knicks are good, or at least decent, right? 226 on the total here. Wizards aren't analytically, I think, as good as like they lead on to be. Neither team really goes quick. They're both kind of a slower tempoed groups. I know Washington is always kind of thought of as that up and down team. They don't play any defense, but neither team really settle on fast breaks. If you could believe that the Knicks are the best team in the NBA defensively, I don't think anyone's surprised by that, at least this year, only giving up 105 points per game. I think the Wizards are a little bit better defensively than one might lead on as well. They're not Sacramento. They're not horrific defensively. Knicks 26-18 to the under this year. I just feel like this is one of those games where people just assume that the Wizards can't stop anybody and they're going to go up and down. They're going to kind of dictate the tempo. But the Knicks are good. The Knicks are playing well at home. I kind of lean under here, 226, anytime the Knicks play.
Yeah, well, it's kind of correlated. And just to your point about Washington, I kind of think of them like maybe as a Sacramento. Like I think Sacramento should be better just based on how their roster is and what their record is. Washington, the same deal. Like you have Bradley Beal, you have Westbrook, you have some other players who are good as well. So it's kind of tough to see why they can't win games.
But if I said to you, like, where offensive efficiency wise are they in the NBA, you kind of would assume they're like top 15. Well, they're not. I mean, they're 21st. I mean, they're not great. they're just kind of an average team. And generally when average types of teams play great defenses, they generally are what they are or worse. These are two teams that are bottom 10 in the NBA in offensive efficiency. And I'm willing to believe that travels here. Plus, you have a Knicks team that defends. I think 226 is too high.
Well, if you remember, Washington did go on like a little streak. Like they won like maybe 5 games in a row, maybe a little bit more. And they looked like they could be making a push in the Eastern Conference. And after that, they just kind of free fall. They played some good teams. I tried to give them benefit of the doubt, but then they played Sacramento and lost to Sacramento as well. And they've continued to just free fall since then. So they've only won one of their last 8 games. And at that point, like it's hard to put trust in Washington. New York, I think about it. I don't usually like you said, the Knicks aren't usually good. I don't usually want to think of them as a team I want to lay points with, but they're 7-2 as a home favorite. They've covered 13 of their last 19 games. So at home, I trust them a bit more. I know that they'll play defense. When they started to lose the games, it's because their defense was slipping, but they've kind of got it a little bit back now. So I like New York. And if I have to say specifically, I like them in the first half. New York has been the best first half team as far as against the spread this year, and Washington has been the worst. So I think you'll be able to get that first half in. Probably is -1.5 or so with the line at I think still 3 for the game. So that's the way I look. New York early. And as far as the total, Washington does want to play up tempo, but you're also correct that they don't score a lot of fast break points. So what good is it really going to do? And their defense hasn't really been great. Actually, bottom 3 defense over the last 5 games, and that's why they stopped winning. New York, we know that they are going to play defense. That's how they win their games, and they're going to play that slow tempo. So I think it's a bit of a correlation here again. I agree with you. I think the total is a little bit too high. I put the number around 222. So I would go to New York first half, and I like the under in this game.
Keep in mind, these teams played back on, just a couple of days ago, and the Knicks blew them out, 131-113. High-scoring game. It was at the half. It was 69-50, I believe. I think you made a good point with the first half. Knicks are very good in the first half this year. Wizards have lost 8 of 10 overall. We know how good the Knicks are defensively. I think you make some good points at the first half. You can get 1.5 currently at FanDuel. You're actually getting reduced juice at 105 as well. That's a great pick. That's a great selection. Knicks are continuing to believe every game they can go out there and win. I've been impressed with how good they've been defensively with Thibodeau there. I think Thibodeau's doing one of the best jobs you'll see, Coach, because it is really hard, Ski, in the NBA to get professionals to listen to what you're saying. They're playing defense. Defense is the thing in the NBA that no one cares about. They're putting some pride into defense. They're playing it, and good for him because that's a young roster, and you're getting them to buy into defense. I haven't always been a Thibodeau guy, but you got to give him respect for what he's doing in New York. 22-22 with these rosters and some of these players, it's pretty impressive. So good for Tom Thibodeau.
If only they have fans, right?
They do. They're starting to get more fans around here. I mean, listen, let me ask you, Ski. Look at this roster, okay? Julius Randle, Reggie Bullock, Nerlens Noel, R.J. Barrett, Alfred Payton, Mitchell Robinson, Alec Burks, Emmanuel Quickley. I mean, a lot of young players there. No one really jumps out at you, but it's, good enough. They're long and they're lengthy, and they buy into defense. So, good for the Knicks.
I want to mention, too, that, Julius Randle has been balling out of his mind. I know a lot of the attention for most improved player has been Jeremy Grant, but I talked about it maybe a week or two ago. Grant was the favorite at that point, minus 180. Randle was plus 300. I'm not sure what he is now, but he's making a strong case for most improved player.
Let me ask you a question. People jumped on me when I said this. A lot of people jumped on me. Do you feel that Jeremy Grant is getting to superstar status?
No.
You don't? He's playing like it.
My thing is, I looked at both of, like I told you, I compare both of these players for most improved player, and I look at their performance last year compared to this year. So Jeremy Grant's numbers are better as far as points, but like his efficiency is not really going up. Like it's just because he's taking more shots. He's having more opportunities. Yeah. So Randle, his is a lot better if you look at those numbers. Like I can actually read them to you if you give me time to bring them up. But
he's basically just a better overall player. I hear you. Great stuff, Ski. The first half I like. That's a good one. I do also, but I'm a little gun shy just with the last game. 131-113 would have flew over this total. So, the Wizards are inept. I think we have to remember they have struggled recently badly. Clippers, Spurs, another Clippers-Spurs game they played last night, and it wasn't close. Clippers win 134-101. Blew out this total, blew out the Spurs. I have no idea how to approach this game. We're seeing this a little bit now with the NBA where teams are playing back-to-backs against the same team or off a night and playing the next night. Any thought on this game? Basically same number, same everything.
I hate it. I hate these back-to-backs where they play the same exact team.
You don't know how to gauge them.
But I feel like, and I don't have any numbers to back this up, but I feel like as far as totals, if you see one go super like high score in the first game, I feel like you see a lower scoring game the next one. And so I may just lean towards that way in this game here. But as far as a side, I feel like they've been asking for consistency from the Clippers, Kawhi, to be specific. So they've been winning games lately. They covered 4 of their last 5. They're 7-0 against the spread on the second of a back-to-back. They took care of business yesterday. San Antonio could have some moving parts for the deadline. I don't see why they can't do it again.
All right, here's what I'm going to recommend. Clippers are the best offensive efficiency team in the NBA, right? Just get it done. Best three-point shooting team in the NBA. They put up 134 last night. They average, 115 a game. Just get your average, and this team total hits. Give me 115, this hits. 114.5. I'll bank on the fact that this team's just kind of efficient, okay? They hit their average. I don't think the Spurs are real impressive defensively. They're a younger team. I'll just kind of ride the wave that they were good last night offensively. I'd expect the pace to be a little bit better tonight just with the Spurs. They weren't really able to score last night, so I'd expect a little bit better of a pace. I'm going to lean that way with this game. Clippers team total over 114.5.
And I mentioned it yesterday, but Clippers, like you said, they're a great shooting team, the number 1 3-point shooting team in the league, and Spurs are not good defending the perimeter. So they should have plenty of opportunities, plenty of great looks to get some points.
Clippers shooting 41.8% from 3. That's pretty damn good. Anytime you get a team over 40%. Thank you for joining us here in the Hoops Betting Hour. We're going through the NBA card. We got some NIT to hit here in just a little bit. Ski Profit is our special guest this week for the NBA. If you like the show, you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's all about growing what we're doing here. And I do want to tell everyone out quickly right now about what we're doing over at PicksWise. We got a contest going on right now between me and 9 other college hoops handicappers and personalities, including John Rothstein, Megan Making Money, Rashad Phillips, all sorts of different people, some handicappers and that sort of thing as well. It's basically a contest. We pick games every day of the tournament, and basically we get points for best bets and additional games. At the end, best record and most amount of points gets 10 Gs. There's also a caveat. There is a listener that's involved as well that was picked out of a contest. So we're kind of all dueling against each other. Ski, I am in striking distance. Okay, the leader has 11 points. I have 7. So this is a big weekend for me. Making plenty of picks. I'm excited about it. So make sure you're following the Capper contest over at Pickswise for the tournament. Ski, let's continue our dive into the NBA card and head over to kind of an interesting game here on paper. Golden State headed on the road to take on the Sacramento Kings up in the capital city of Sacramento. Kings laying 2.5. Total in this game is 223.5. I'll tell you, I'm looking towards the Kings here again. I mean, I didn't really love them last night because Atlanta just was kind of playing well, but Kings have won 4 or 5. Is their defense starting to improve a little bit? Look at what this team's done defensively over the last 5 games. They had one bogey game against the Sixers, but all in all, they're playing pretty well on that end. I think you would agree Warriors are a tough bet without Stephen Curry. And frankly, they're a tough bet on the road. 9-14 against the spread on the road this year. Haven't played well recently. They're trying. They're playing hard, but you mentioned the other night with, I think it was you, Draymond Green and Kerr kind of going at it. That might have been Gabe Morency. I might have heard him say that. Either way, Kings are playing well. I don't like the Warriors on the road. Lean in Sacktown here.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it probably was Gabe. I don't think it was me. But I feel like whenever Draymond just gets a little heated at the end of the game, he's getting technicals, Kerr just gets kind of pissed off. He's like, you're costing us the game. And he's done it a couple of times already. So I kind of think that may be what it was. And yes, I don't trust Golden State at all. Like no Curry, no Golden State, and no points. Like that's how I feel. So you already listed how they are on the road. I mean, as a road dog, 33%. They do usually beat up on lesser competition teams, 10-3 versus 45% when teams are better. But a lot of those games are with Steph Curry. The past 10 games, they've only covered and won 3 of them. And they are in a situation for teams that I like to back. But I don't just blindly do these trends. Like I look them up just to have some extra information and try to make sense of what's going on. But like I said before, I like teams to bounce back after being embarrassed as a home dog. And when I say embarrassed, I mean they lost by 10 or more points. And I like them more when they're road dog. That is Golden State today. Those teams are 69.6% back to 2019 around Christmas. But I don't trust Golden State to bounce back without Curry. It's that simple.
It's hard to bet them without him.
Sacramento, they've been playing better. And I mean, like you said, their defense has improved. Defense wins games. When you see some of these bottom feeders start to win games, you'll notice that their defensive rating has been increasing from bottom feeders to higher up.
Yeah. So
they've covered and won 4 of their last 5 games. I don't see why they can't do it again here tonight. I like the Kings.
Yeah, it's hard to not play them here. You have a struggling team that isn't playing well on the road. And as you said, I think you said it eloquently, they don't score without Curry. It's just that simple. I'm leaning Kings here as well. I gave them shit because they don't play defense, okay? But they have been better. So shout out to the Kings. Maybe Luke Walton is getting through to these guys.
I'm not buying it.
You're not buying that?
Not Luke.
They're just taking some pride in what they're doing. But yeah, that was a nice win last night. I mean, De'Aaron Fox continues to be electric. I said when the Sixers let Rashawn Holmes go, I didn't love him initially, but the kid does a lot of good things around the rim. He blocks shots. He's a good player. Buddy gives you your normal 15 to 20. Barnes is kind of got a decent role there. And then Halliburton. I think Hassan Whiteside could be – I mean, I don't even know if I should go into how do you pay him as much money as you pay him?
I have no idea. And I heard maybe Lakers need a center. They should get him. I'm like, keep him away from the Lakers, please.
It's mystifying how he gets all this money. It's really wild. So, yeah, I lean Kings there as well.
One more person, why you said getting all this money. How about Siakam? Didn't he get like $150 million? He sucks to me.
Yeah, I made the case. Listen, I got so much crap when I made the comment about Siakam a year and a half ago or something. I had every Toronto fan in the book hate me because I said, how are you going to let this guy dominate you. Who is Siakam? And he actually vindicated himself because he played really well the next year. But since then, Pascal Siakam has just been a guy. Like,
let me tell you this. He said before in the offseason, he doesn't even pick up a basketball. He doesn't care to get better. So you're going to see the same player. And if the league sees the same player over and over again, you're not going to have continued success.
Not ideal if you're a front office guy that your star doesn't pick up the ball in the summer at all. Wild. Because look, I've said before, not always do the most talented guys like Kawhi Leonard, when he came out of San Diego State, was not the best player in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard worked tirelessly to be the best player one of the best players in the league. He became a better shooter. He became a better foul shooter. That's all from hard work. Ben Simmons, Pascal Siakam, they're kind of in that camp of they'll just use what they have and be good, not great.
Yeah, some of these players, they treat it just like a job. They're not passionate about it.
Right. And, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But, I mean, you don't want them on your team, put it that way. Sixers, 31-13, by the way. Shout out to the Sixers here against the Lakers. Should be a good game. But, on the surface, it looks like a good game. But then you look at it and say, well, no LeBron James, no Anthony Davis. And it's not as cool. No Joel Embiid. So it's not as cool a game as it might lead on. Remember, Sixers could look a little different. You've got to – and that's why, Ski, I will recommend what I'm looking towards here and what situation I want, but I want to make this clear. If the Sixers make a move, Kyle Lowry, if they get him, he will not play tonight. And what's going to happen is the players involved will not play tonight. So this could be a real skeleton lineup for the Sixers. Let's just remember that. We could see a lot of Isaiah Joe here, which, that's why doing these shows sometimes are tough early in the morning. It is a different day, though, today. You've got the trade deadline. So I want to preface this to all the people out there. Ski and I will give our selection or what we like here, but it is conforming to what a normal team has. We need normal teams here, right, Ski? I don't want the game in the hands of Isaiah Joe and Tony Bradley. No offense.
Kyle Lowry's been kind of linked to the Lakers a little bit too, so you never even know. It could go there.
Yes. So keep abreast of what's going on here. And by the way, just because it hits 4:00, that doesn't mean deals aren't going to go down. All right. They could be in motion already. Sixers, though, are playing well. They've won 7 of 9 without Embiid. Without Embiid, Ski, they've won 7 of 9. And over the last 7 games, only given up 101 points a game. How good is this defense? Another team that puts pride into defense. And I've got to be proud of this group. Ben Simmons has shut me the hell up this year, okay? Just saying. Ben is playing well, and I give him the respect. Really good season for Ben. Tobias has played well. Danny Green, he's making shots all of a sudden. How about that? We missed that. Lakers struggle without LeBron and Davis, as any team would. You have to agree with that. You don't. It's not ideal not having them. Listen, we talked about it with the Heat. They play a lot of these like 99, 94 type of games. I think this game's one of those. I don't think either team has much success scoring the basketball. I think this is a good old-fashioned, 90s type of game where it looks like a good old NBA game again. I don't think the Lakers get to 100 here. I got to be honest, Ski. Just saying.
Well, they've struggled to get there anyway lately.
Right. It's such a tough game, though, just because I do think Ski, let me ask you, what's the percentage, 1 to 100, that the Sixers team tonight is the same team we've seen the whole year? You got to agree someone's on the move.
Honestly, if it was me, if I was your GM, I would not trade for Kyle Lowry. I think the team is pretty good as it is. So just me thinking that, I think that they can maybe stay put. I don't know. Who do you want to give up for Kyle Lowry, really? So I don't know. I think the team stays the same, my personal opinion.
I mean, I'd be good with giving up like Thibault and Matt. I'm good with that. See ya.
Well, if that's all you have to give up, maybe. But
and another pick. Matisse Thibault, Maxey, another pick. I'm good with that.
I mean, give the Maxey though. Come on, man. Maxey's a baller. I don't know. Lowry's what, 35? He's 35. How long are you gonna have Lowry over there balling?
3 or 4 years, and he might bring in a title.
I'm not buying that for 35.
But you got to remember, man, Maxey fell off and has. I mean, he's been playing a little bit more recently, but he fell off. He had that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that I didn't like Maxey when they drafted him, frankly, but he's played well. I will see. We'll see what they do. But so are you giving it a 50-50? Is it below 50% that they don't make
I would say that it's the same team. I would say 70%.
That they don't make a move?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. 30% that they do make a move. Okay. What do you like in this game? Are you leaning on anything? Under? It's got to be under, right?
Well, for one, you touched a lot on the Philadelphia side, so I'll start with the Lakers. You already mentioned, without LeBron, without Anthony Davis, they've been really struggling, mostly, on the offensive end. You don't really have too many. Like, you have to – this is my thing. With the Lakers, as the roster is right now, they have to play faster because that's the only way they're going to be able to get some of these easy baskets and keep up in these games. They're not going to score consistently in a half-court setting with the guys that they have out there. Don't get me wrong. Kuzma, he's good. Schroeder's good. I'm not a fan of Trez. He can get a basket, though, but they have to play fast. Now, with that said, I agree with everything you said about the Sixers as far as they've been winning games without Embiid, and their identity has been defense and rebounding. I don't think that stops tonight. I think that they don't struggle to defend the players the Lakers throw out there. I do think that they have a significant rebounding advantage. So to your point about the total, look at the last 5 games without Embiid. They've all went under. Average total that they listed was about 223, and it went under by 13 points per game. So that puts you at about 210. Still get you under the number. Also, looking at totals under 217 this year, they've been hitting above 65%. So if you like an under, I don't think you should be scared just because the number is low. So,
here's an avenue that I think you could also explore in this game, and I think you're set with not having to worry about moves. Lakers team total under 104.5 seems pretty good here. I'm getting a pretty 108 is a good price. I don't think they get to 100, and I'm just focusing on the fact that I don't think this team can score in a half court against the Sixers. No offense. I think if Schroeder scores 22 here, they're not they might hit 100. That's it. The Sixers are really elite, man. They play good defense.
And they're missing Seth Curry still, right? They're missing Curry and Embiid. Those are 2 offensive players. So I tend to agree. I like the under, and if I had to play the side without the guys, I maybe will look towards Philly. The one thing I'll say, though, Lakers weren't really looking like they're giving much effort, or at least some guys weren't. Maybe after the trade deadline is over and guys know they're staying, maybe they play a little bit better. But I lean under and Philly right now.
Yeah. No, I like the under as well. I like that. I also like the Lakers team total under 104.5. I think consensus-wise, 5 picks. First couple of Heat Blazers, I have no real interest. Clippers Spurs have no real interest. I like the Knicks first half a lot. I think that's a solid play. That's a good call by you. I think playing that makes sense. And, I think involving ourselves in the Kings, laying 2.5, I think it's a pretty solid number there. Golden State just isn't backable on the road, especially without Curry. And, in some sort of fashion, I think ultimately with the Sixers game, I'm going to probably kind of do my due diligence to understand what they're going to do at the deadline, maybe try to get in on it before this number moves. Because once something happens here, you could be shut out. It could be a bad situation for you. So I think they are going to make a move in some way. I think Nuke Worker here makes a point that Lowry's a free agent next year. He might not be affiliated. Listen, if he comes here, the expectation is he will retire here. It's just that simple. You're not going to sign him for one season. Plus, remember, he is a Philly guy. He grew up on Allegheny Avenue. He went to Villanova. He's a Philly dude. Ski, the expectation is if he comes here, he's going to sign here long term.
Yeah, I agree. If he does go there, he'll be there long term. He'll probably go back at the end of his career and retire like the last day as a Raptor. But outside of that, he'll be there.
But the modicum, amount of time just at the end of the year, I get that. But he's going to play the rest of his career here if he comes here. We'll see. You never know what Daryl Morey is going to do. He's always all over the place. Julian Cesario, how are you? Good to see you. Francis in here, K Paul's in here, Chi Archie, people in here. A lot of people lurking. We don't have a ton of comments, but there are, I get people come in here because they expect college hoops, but we don't have college hoops. We do a little, though, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But before we do that, I want to tell everyone about FanDuel. Make sure you're checking out FanDuel if you're in a qualifying state. A lot of states have FanDuel at this point. My home state of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Illinois, all sorts of different places have FanDuel. And, they have some pretty cool, promos right now. They got like first basket insurance with the NBA. Place a pre-live first bet scoring wager on an eligible NBA game, and if your bet loses, but your player scores the second or third basket, you get a refund and site credit. So they have things like that. Little ways. I know people put these like NBA first basket props together. Ski, do you ever bet those or no?
No, I'm not interested in those. I know some people have success with them, but I have never even really paid attention to first basket.
Yeah, definitely. All sorts of different insurances for the amount of bets that you're doing. You can really bet on whatever you want, whether it's team totals, first halves, first quarters, full games, any sport. FanDuel's got you covered. And we've talked about this before at FanDuel, a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. So make sure you're going and checking out FanDuel. It's always great to get started on a new book with the ability that first game you bet is a risk-free bet up to $1,000. So you come in, you like something, and there's nothing better than seeing your account credited. And if you lose, so be it. You come right back and you get on the horse. So make sure you're checking out FanDuel right now. Truly one of the biggest names in the sports betting space. Make sure you check out FanDuel Sportsbook now. Download the app. All right, Ski, let's move on here. Let me ask you, have you been handicapping college hoops? Have you been playing college hoops? What's been going on with that?
Yeah, I've been having my most success. I followed all year Pac-12 because, that's kind of where I grew up in schools. I know I've been focusing mostly them and Mountain West, but I dabbled in the others. I will say the most successful is Pac-12 for sure. But maybe a couple of these games I will have an opinion on.
Pac-12's done a nice job this year. Let's get into NIT. We got 4 NIT games tonight. Obviously, this year it's a little different on how they're doing things, but let's get into it. 6 o'clock Eastern, Richmond, Mississippi State. Okay, Richmond is a team that is no stranger to me. I made the case at one point this season when they were fully healthy. I thought they were a team that can make a real deep run in the NCAA tournament. I will say, though, Ski, they've been one of the most unlucky teams in the country. Had some COVID issues. Their 2 top players, Blake Francis and Grant Golden, were out towards the end of the season, and it really made them – they really struggled. I mean, it just was bad luck for them, frankly. They are playing this game down at Denton at North Texas, so kind of a weird scheduling game as far as where it is. Richmond heading down to Denton. Mississippi State coming in here with – a solid season, kind of we're a middling SEC team. Ended up losing in the SEC tournament by a wide margin to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kind of clashing styles here. Mississippi State want to go slow. They want to play it out through the guards, and they're going to hit the glass hard. Here's the big thing in this game, okay? And I know because Chris Mooney is a friend of mine. He was on my podcast back in when I was at Barstool. He was on the Big Men on Basketball podcast. I listened to his press conference yesterday. Grant Golden will not play. Okay, he made that clear. He came out and said it. Golden's not going to play the rest of the tournament. So if they advance here, he's still not going to play. Blake Francis is a game-time decision. Without those players, I thought they would lose the other night. They found a way to win. Saul Caresi had a big game coming out of nowhere. It's going to be a tough game tonight. Mississippi State has really good guards, and Molinar and DJ Stewart. They hit the glass really hard. I think they could have some real issues, Richmond, here in this game against a team that defend their ass off, rebound the ball at a really high level. They're 8th in American offensive rebounding percentage. This is a Richmond team, Ski, that is dreadful on the glass. Dreadful. I think, Jacob Gilliard's going to do what he can to keep them in this game, and that was an impressive game against Toledo. But all in all, I think Mississippi State's kind of a tough matchup here without 2 of your best players. Did you look at this game? Any interest?
I haven't watched either of these 2 teams this year. I've watched 4 of the other 6 teams that we're going to talk about a little bit here today. So I don't really have too much on this one, but I will say, or I'll ask you, I know you watch a lot of movies and you follow a lot of college. Is this that same team from Coach Carter?
No. That was a high school team. But no, that is a real team. Richmond, California is a real place. And it's based on a true story. So that's a real story. That guy really did that kind of stuff. But no, Richmond is from the city of Richmond in Virginia.
Okay. I know you know your geography too.
Well, that's tested. Some people don't think I do. But yes, I know way more about geography than most people. Put it that way.
Definitely me.
Also, shout out to Richmond, because one thing I always remember about Richmond is season 5 of The Wire, when McNulty made up the serial killer. Remember, I don't know if you remember this, but he kidnapped like a homeless guy to make it look like, what was going on. And he took the guy to Richmond and just took him to like a homeless shelter.
Yeah, McNulty was sick in that part.
Yeah, he was twisted, for sure. But yes, that's what I remember Richmond for. But no, 2 different teams. But yeah, this is a tough game. I have some real issues on Richmond. I don't think they're a real good bet without those 2 players. They're not a real deep team. I think Mississippi State and Ben Howland can have some success here. Stewart is a good player for Mississippi State. I lean Bulldogs here. I laying the 2.5. NC State, Colorado State. NC State is a group that I was actually, got to be honest, very surprised that they took care of Davidson the way they did. That was an impressive win for NC State. Have been without Devin Daniels for a while. And they're going to come in here against a really good Colorado State team. Ski, as you know, if you follow Mountain West, Stevens, Roddy, really a well-coached team under Nico Medved. Anything you like here? I didn't have much in this game. It was kind of a coin flippy game to me. You look at the number. NC State laying 1.5, total at 146. NC State's going to press. Whenever you look at a game involving NC State, does the other team turn the ball over is the big thing you kind of want to look at. And this is a Colorado State team that's had trouble with that. 222 in American turnover percentage. When I look at their non-steal turnover percentage, I worry. Non-steal turnover percentage is basically going to be your travels, double dribbles, stepping on the end line, shot clock violations, forced errors by your team. You make the mistakes. Not real ideal in this kind of spot. Do you like anything here?
That makes me nervous a little bit, what you said about the turnover deal. But I look at NC State. I don't think they're that good defending the perimeter. And Colorado State seems to be a team that can shoot the 3 fairly well. I think Colorado State is a better defensive team.
Yes.
I know you're kind of big on this. You're big on teams that shoot good free throws. NC State is not good in the free throw department, and Colorado State is 11th, I think, or they're pretty good up there.
At the end of the day, if Colorado State just doesn't turn the ball over, I think they get the job done here, because in all facets of the game outside of that, they are better than NC State. Okay, but anytime you play Kevin Keats, he is going to press you. He's going to try to turn your world upside down and steal the ball and run out and all that kind of thing. I will say, though, and this is something to keep in mind, Davidson didn't really turn the ball over. They just didn't make any shots. So Colorado State's going to have to make some shots. But it's a tough game to pick. It's a flippy game. I don't really ever trust teams that if they don't turn it over, well, they do turn it over. So we have to hope that they don't. I'm passing on this one.
Let me ask you one question really quick. Is the ACC better than Mountain West? I don't follow ACC at all. So that tends to think – I think Colorado State is the play then.
The ACC struggled mightily this year. Now, there were some teams – obviously, Syracuse has played well ultimately. And, but outside of that, Virginia too. But, Duke wasn't good. UNC wasn't good. Louisville struggled. The bottom of the conference sucked. I think the top 4 or 5 in the Mountain West was legit. I liked that group. I don't think it really translated to them going to the tournament, but I think they're all really solid teams. Boise, another team out of the Mountain West who's solid, headed on take on Memphis here. Memphis laying 4, total 143. I will come out and say it. I think Memphis is a top 10 defensive team in America. They are very good. They are very long, and they are better offensively than they have been. Okay, they really started to get going towards this end of the season. Here's the issue for Boise. Abu Kigab, okay, he is their shot blocking maestro. He didn't play in the Mountain West tournament. I need to figure out what his status is. If he plays, I think this game's probably close. If he doesn't play, I have no interest. He's very important on both sides of the ball. He's their second leading scorer. He's a shot blocker. He gets the job done in the middle. And I think he could do some good things against Cisse and some of the bigs from Memphis. I need to know what Abu Kigab's status is. I think when he doesn't play, Derek Walton has more responsibility, has more pressure. I like Memphis. Memphis is a solid defense team. I was really impressed with their games against Houston late in the season. I kind of lean towards Memphis here just to really make it tough on Walton. I think if you can shut him down, you shut Boise down.
Yeah, Memphis seems like, their defense is pretty legit. Like I said, that's one of the teams I haven't really watched this year. I wasn't sure if their offense was that great. The numbers for Ken Palm don't say that their offense is great. But like you said, they've been playing better lately. So it makes me a little nervous. My initial look was towards Boise State.
And not Walton. I meant Alston. Kind of similar names. So many names you're getting confused. We know who I was talking about. Their leading scorer, Derek.
How about the free throws, though?
Yep.
Isn't Memphis a bad free throw shooting team?
Memphis is a horrible free throw shooting team. Yes, that's your issue when you back Memphis. And I've talked about that all season. That sometimes is you look at the game they lost against Houston, 76-74 on a buzzer beater. Really shouldn't have been that close because they were 15 for 27 from the free throw line. That's a point ski where, when you're looking at maybe backing Memphis here, that is going to come into play here. And that could be the difference between a winner and a loser. The real thing for me here is if Kagab plays, I think this is probably a close game. If he doesn't play, I think Memphis finds a way to win by 7 to 10 points. But it's a tough game. It really is. I need to know what Kagab's status is. All right, final game here. Western Kentucky, La Tech. Good old Conference USA matchup here in the NIT. Both teams at this point want this game. Okay, these two teams do not like each other. They're from the same conference. You definitely don't want to lose to a conference mate in the NIT. When you look at these two teams, the first thing that jumps out at you here in Frisco, defensively, they are both really, really good defensively. They both are going to slow this game down. They both want to play at a more deliberate pace. La Tech is tough to score on. They just are. They have a long defense. Basie is a matchup problem, but again, I think Kenneth Lofton's good enough to guard him down low. I thought 137 was a bit high here. I thought the under might have some value. Neither of these teams really shoot a ton of threes or want to shoot a ton of threes. I go back to last season when these two teams played, kind of a wild two games, 95-91 in overtime. The other game, though, was in regular time, 65-54. I think that's kind of what this game is. Every possession is going to be important. I also, with this game, I'm a little concerned, too, because Kobe Williams, the point guard for La Tech, did not play. He played, I think, 3 minutes in that game against North Texas in the tournament final. And then when you come back in the first NIT game, he did play. He played 17 minutes, so he started playing a little bit more. I'd want to think that he's healthy. And Mississippi just kind of let that one slide. I'm going to lean on an under here, Ski. I'm going to guess you haven't seen either of these two teams play. But I'm going to lean on the fact that I just know what CUSA basketball is. Both are good defensive teams. Both are really going to get after you on that end. And I think it's going to be a big battle between Basie and Lofton. Ski, Kenneth Lofton, let me describe him to you. He is big baby Davis-like. He's a big kid, like almost chubby. Like he's a big dude. But he's graceful, man. He's really good around the rim. And this should be a good matchup between Basie, who's an NBA player, and Kenneth Lofton. Any thought here?
Well, I did watch Western Kentucky versus St. Mary's College, and I like good basketball, and I wanted to rip my eyes out, big man. I don't know how you follow schools like this. Like, I just really don't enjoy watching. And watching Western Kentucky, it's hard to think that La Tech is not better than them. So I'll let you have this game.
Western Kentucky is, the problem that Western Kentucky's had over the years is they have talent. Like, Mitchell Robinson went to Western Kentucky. He didn't really play there, but they get good talent. Basie's going to go to the NBA. They just, their coach is seemingly just got no luck. I mean, he never finds ways to get to the big dance or to win games when they matter most. I look at both teams. Neither want to shoot threes. Both teams want to kind of just play in the half court. Both are very dependent on getting to the line. Neither team foul. Both teams play good defense. I think this is a sloggy game. And I got to tell you, I know Ski just mentioned he doesn't like watching these games. I do. I think there's something really impressive about two teams that are just elite defensively. And I think you see that here. I think the talent kind of cancels each other out. They fight the 60 here. That's my goal. It's my guess here.
Let me ask you really quick, big man. Does free throw play a part here in this one? I think there's a big disparity. Like Western Kentucky's good and La Tech is not. And I also just want to say, like, I got this from our good friend Bobano, but when you stop learning, you stop winning. I got that from you, big man. Like, I'm getting into college. I hear you say all the time how important free throw percentage is. So I'm looking it up. So do you think it plays a part here?
Yeah, I mean, and it, when you look at the game, I mean, it's a flip. Okay. There's not even, it's a pick'em. That's what this game is. You guess on what's going to happen. When you play games like this, it is very likely that the team that shoots better free throws is going to win the game. It's that short of an advantage. And that's why for me in this game, I don't really have an interest in betting on who's going to win. I'm just going to assume that every possession is very important, and these two teams put it all on the line because they hate each other and they want to win. But you're right. It would not surprise me at all if the sole difference in this game is West Kentucky goes, 15 for 18 from the line and La Tech goes 12 for 20 from the line. And it's that close. So I think that in this case really could be the difference here. So, yeah, it does matter. Free throw percentage, if you go back and look at the games you're losing, I'm going to guarantee it 80% of them you can go back to the disparity at the line and say, if I'd have made 2 or 3 more, we get a cover. Yeah, and I've done the historical look at it. I did it when I started my show when I was at Barstow. I looked at last year teams that were good against the spread, like Hofstra. Hofstra was the best team in America against the spread. They were 8th in America in free throw percentage. There was a consensus of teams that were good against the spread were good from the line, and teams that weren't good against the spread. So, yeah, it's definitely important, very important.
Direct correlation, I would say.
Very much so. And you have some college teams that are just dreadful from the line, and they don't score much as it is. So free throws are important, and it really bogs down the offense. Ski, great stuff. Always like talking to you. Good stuff on the NBA. 4 NIT games, bang them out as well. This is the Hoops Betting Hour. That's what we do. We talk hoops. Doesn't have to always be games. We could just talk theory. And Ski made a great point. Say that again about learning, Ski. I want you to say that.
Like when you stop learning, you stop winning. Like, for example, I came out here and as soon as I moved here, it was COVID and NBA shut down. So I'm just trying to learn other crafts or other sports. Like I learned horse racing, I learned poker. I've been getting into college, and just the more time you put into working, the more you learn, the more you'll win. When you stop learning, you stop winning.
I think Ski makes a good point. I've always over the years, and I'll admit, if you know me, you know this, I'm very arrogant. I can be not one that wants to listen to people. I want to do things my way or the highway sometimes. But there are people that I respect a lot, and Ski's one of them. And we can all learn from each other here. And that's a very good point. Always be looking to better your craft. And I respect Ski because he is willing to always work. I don't know of anyone outside of me that's willing to do that. I will, if you ask me to do a show at 3 a.m., I will find a way to do it, So shout out to Ski. We'll be back with him tomorrow. We'll figure out what happened at the trade deadline and how it's going to affect teams going forward. Got more games in the NBA. And we will start to look forward to the Sweet 16. Donnie, Rightside, and I are back on Saturday. Get ready for those games. This has been the Hoops Betting Hour, powered by Pickswise and presented by FanDuel here every morning, 9 a.m. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. We are back. I'm the big man on campus. He's Ski Prophet. Ski, let's just wrap it up here. Consensus. We like the Knicks tonight in the first half, minus the 1.5. We're going to go with that.
Right.
Let's rock with that. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy the trade deadline. We'll see you here tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern.